Call a meeting to order of the Town Council, Town of Winslow, Monday, February 12th, 2024. Recite Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just roll call for attendance. Mike Joseph.
Here.
Dale Macklin.
Here.
Fran Hudson.
Here.
Ray Karen.
Here.
Adam Lint.
Here.
Lee Trahan.
Here.
And Jeff West.
Here.
And I'll just read the statement for public comment. Any person wishing to verbally address the council on any matter before it may do so, provided permission is first obtained by the council chair. Each person addressing the council shall stand and give the person's name and address in an audible tone of voice for the record and shall limit remarks to the time allotted by the council chair. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. No person other than the council and the person having the floor shall be permitted to enter into any discussion, either directly or through a counselor without the permission of the council chair. Any question shall be asked a counselor except through the council chair. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or who shall become boisterous while addressing the council shall be forthwith by the council chair barred from further audience before the council, unless permission to continue is granted by the majority vote of the council. Please keep all side conversations within the audience to a minimum and phones be put on silent. Is there any conflicts of interest this evening?
I don't believe so.
Okay, approval of minutes from previous meeting from January 15th and January 29th of 2024.
So moved. Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. On to communications, we have Dr. Pei for an EMS Physicians Response Team presentation.
Dr. Pei, if I may interrupt you for just
Please.
one moment. There is a 10-minute time limit.
Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'll keep it under 10. And I have handouts that each of you up front will have them, and I'll distribute these. I don't have enough, didn't anticipate this many people, so I apologize. But you may have to share. And I could put it up on the screens. Actually, I'm gonna grab it over there. So, on my time here. Hopefully. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Good. So I just want to tell you about this county service. I came and presented many months ago about the idea of this, and we are now 2 months in service. This is an EMS physician response team, which means that we have specially trained emergency physicians that are currently all board certified in EMS, which is a subspecialty of emergency medicine. And just to put that in context, a gastroenterologist or a cardiologist is an internal medicine physician with a subspecialty certification in cardiology and gastroenterology. So us as emergency EMS physicians, we are emergency medicine physicians with a subspecialty in EMS. So just to put that into what kind of specialty this type of physician has. All of us work in emergency departments in Maine, and we're here with this proof of concept. It's a hypothesis that we're doing here, which is it useful to have physicians available for assistance with 911 response in an EMS system in a rural area in America? This whole concept is well-worn, mature in areas like Boston, New York City, Atlanta, the Carolinas, in Charlotte. They have all had EMS physicians as part of their EMS systems for decades. Pittsburgh was the first. So doing it in a rural area is kind of special. So what I wanted to do is just let you know what we've done, right? And what's the value of this, and what are the vulnerabilities, what have been the challenges, what are the strengths, and just go over that with you. So primarily what we do is the most critically ill and injured are our specialty on one end. So that's your unstable, that's your life flight of Maine type calls. But a third of the time in Maine, life flight can't respond because either the weather is too dangerous for them to fly, or they have competing missions that they've been requested for because they're very busy. So a third of the time we will come in as backup to life flight. Life flight should always be called first. The reason being is they may not have physicians on board, but they can move that patient rapidly to specialty physicians like trauma surgeons or critical care physicians. So that's always the priority. We are a backup. The other side of this is the lower acuity cases. These are treat and release, which is not within the scope of practice of EMS, really anywhere in the US right now. There's some other innovative examples of that in other places. But really this is something like, my experience with this is pulling a fish hook out during a blizzard. And I don't know how they got a fish hook in their thumb at home in a blizzard, but being able to pull that out and send everybody else home, get them off the road. That's the transporting agency, the first responders. Or it's febrile seizures that are very benign and safe in a young child. That's something that we've done. And just reassure the parents, it's safe to stay. You don't need to come into the ER and wait for 4 or 6 hours is what it feels like these days on a bad day. Other parts to this is education. A lot of what we're doing during our downtime is teaching. So giving education. And the education is specific to the type of learners that I am and most of my EMS colleagues are. That's the type of teaching that's case specific. Right after a case that I've shared with people, we debrief that case and talk about lessons learned, reinforcing what we did well and maybe redirecting and talking about what we could have done better. That type of learning for me when I was early on in EMS was very impactful, and it tends to be received that way as well. So we have done, the next page on here is talking about our staffing coverage. Our goal is Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. as our proof of concept. And during that time, I would love to be 24/7, 365. I just don't have the staffing yet. I really have 3 core physicians. We've gotten about 80% of those shifts covered in the first 2 months. So I would say that's a vulnerability. I do have 2 physicians coming to Maine General specifically for this program. So I've recruited one from New Mexico and one from Wisconsin. They're EMS physicians. They want to do this type of response and serve the community this way. And again, this is a very unique opportunity for them nationally. So I'm excited that Maine General gets 2 new docs. Other parts here, I just broke down who's taking what shifts. The big blue bars on here are one doc. That's me taking most of these. But again, I've got 2 new docs coming that I'm very excited about. So I also just have done this forever and love doing it, so it is not a hardship on my part. The activity summary here, in 2 months, we've been responding to about 46 calls. A little less than half of those we've been directly involved. The other half, they either are so sick they need to move that patient before we can get there, very appropriately. It's quicker to get to a physician than a physician to get to you. Then EMS folks make that decision. The other parts here are, you can see how many hours of teaching, how much quality assurance we've done, how much community outreach we've done. This is community outreach, right? So a lot of what I'm doing on this spin up is teaching, talking, telling you about what we're doing. My hope is once I'm done with that, that all shifts into teaching, okay? Interfacility transports, the 4 that you see there, our life flight was not available, and so they called us. And those were also the level of call that the nurses and the team there were not comfortable going alone. So they really wanted a physician with them. So I broke down on the next one, which is just a little bit of what those it's not completely all of the 20 calls we've been directly involved with, but it gives you a sense of what we were seeing. Pregnancy emergencies, 5 cardiac arrests, 7 seizures. That's a lot of seizures. I didn't anticipate that. I anticipated cardiac arrests, but the seizures were a little bit of a surprise for me. An example of that I learned that I have not been teaching my paramedics at their beginning course as well is something called subclinical status epilepticus. Status epilepticus is the type of seizure that's life-threatening. It's not the normal seizure that stops on its own. Recognizing that in little kids, when they're no longer convulsing, it's just their eyes subtly moving, was something that was dramatic that we've seen twice, that we were able to teach real time and continue care and stop that seizure. And I think if we hadn't taught that, it would have continued until the doc had seen the patient, which is just something I haven't taught medics or EMTs yet. So it was a lesson learned for me as a teacher that I need to teach it. The map here of the county, you can see everywhere that we have been actively involved. Again, it's not completely all of the data, but it's a good snapshot. So I need to get up to the north of the county and out to the west of the county a little better than I've done so far. So you can see the population densities here, Waterville, Augusta, Gardner. They're getting more calls, more people live there, right? So that's the concentration of the critical cases. I would say that the Belgrade calls, the Sydneys, the Vassarboroughs, the Winslows were further out in these areas. I think that may be where the impact of added help may be felt more intensely. So, and then I have a list here of just some of these classic cases, like the 2 pediatric seizures where it was what we call subclinical, which just means that it was so subtle that to be able to teach that. The cardiac arrest save is a good example of, we get to 5 cardiac arrests, not many of these are saved. I would just say that one was probably where the physician did make a big difference. Not that we can't do this without us, it's just that there's every once in a while there's a cardiac arrest where it really does make an impact to have a physician level intervening, and that was one example of that. I'm very private about the details of these. We live in small towns, so I'm not going to give you details, right? Because this stuff, yeah, and I struggle with that, because if I could give you details, I feel like this story would be much more impactful, but that's just the way it rolls. So, and then you'll see pictures of all of us. Dr. Busco was on call today, headed back up to Bangor just recently. You can see Dr. Mihan Kousay is our other core physician. And I'm just giving you a little bit of stats on where they were trained and where they did all of their training and other things. And these are the new recruits that are coming. You can see at the very top here is Jack Lewis. He is the current fellow at Maine Medical Center. They just started an EMS fellowship to train these type of docs here locally in Maine. They started in July. So congratulations, Jack. He's about halfway through. He went to Colby. He worked for Delta for about 3 or 4 years before he went to medical school. So these are homegrown docs, okay? The other 2 have Maine connections and are coming here because of that, but they are away now. And then I just have at the end there just some of the feedback we've gathered so far. You'll see most of it's positive, some of it's constructive, like Dr. Pay, don't throw the trash on the floor of the ambulance. It's not like you're in the trauma room and people are cleaning up after you. That's my favorite feedback. I do better now. I was told explicitly the trash can is over there, right? So we all learn from our mistakes. So that's what I have. So I'm sorry I didn't leave 30 seconds for questions, but I will be here. I'm also available to anybody.
Through the chair, Dr. Pate, will these people be working in the ER too as part of their assignments here, or just for emergency medicine?
They are dedicated to the county for EMS. They don't have a competing role in the ED while they're on staff. They have their home emergency departments that they're based out of, but that's not part of this job that they
And
have.
where's your home base again? Is it varies to department? I know you mentioned that before.
Where are the home bases?
Yeah, home bases.
So for Kelly Mihan Kousay, she's out of Southern Maine Medical Center down in Biddeford, but lives in Freeport, drives up to the county for her shifts.
Okay.
Jonathan Busco's at St. Joseph's up in Bangor, lives in Bangor, and drives down to Kennebec County for his shifts.
I kind of meant, where do you guys hang out when you're?
Oh, where?
Kennebec
Sorry. So
County? Yeah.
all over. We're either on the road or we're teaching. A lot of us, Kelly is medical director for Gardner, so she tends to gravitate in the southern part. Jonathan is gravitated towards Augusta in that area, and I tend to be floating all around. So we are available throughout the county. I found that Lyons Road is a nice mid spot for me. That's what Delta uses as well. So sometimes I just camp out there, and then I can get within a half an hour to anywhere in the county.
So life flight is still, like you mentioned, the primary, the
Absolutely.
first response, and then your secondary.
Absolutely, yeah. We always would defer to them just because we can't move a patient like they can. So, but if we can assist or we can back up, then that's our role.
Yeah, have you ever gone on a call with Life Fight
Yep.
on the way and you're there too, seems though that would be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually transferred care to them on critical cases where I had a severely trauma patient that needed a tertiary care center, needed Portland or Lewiston or Bangor. We brought them to Maine General because we didn't know Life Flight was coming by ground in their own ambulance. But once I realized I had that asset, then it's actually quicker for that patient if I give them over to Life Flight instead of bring them into my home ER, because the process of transferring care, it extends and delays. So we do that operational decision-making aggressively for whatever the patient needs the best. So we work together with them, and we assist with them depending on what they need during that transfer of care.
Through the chair. How is this paid? How are you guys financed?
Great question. Yeah, that's another vulnerability, right? Is sustainability. So we started up with a $345,000 ARPA grant, and that bought us our equipment, our vehicle, and it gave us stipends for being on call through about September, and then that money runs out. And so the debate right now for the Kennebec County Budget Committee, which our first meeting is on the 14th, so just in a couple days, is whether this has enough value to be funded by the general fund from the county. And that would be based on mill rate, as you know very well, right? It averages about $2.85 per resident of Kennebec County to fund us on our operating costs throughout the year, which is about $350,000, we estimate.
And you go after the county or you go after the patient for
County.
the money? The county.
We don't charge, there are home visit ways of coding as a physician, but that's not something that we've reached into. It's really would be sustained funding from the general fund from the county would be our first request. And that's through the Kennebec County Emergency Management Agency would be our home for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Doctor, could you explain a little bit about how the shifts work, and are you doing 24-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts?
Great question. So 12-hour shifts. I come on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then I'll be on until 8 p.m. depending on the physician's availability. So living in the county, it's not as much of a hardship for me to pull the 12-hour shift because I live here. So, and the goal is to have 12 hours of coverage Monday through Friday. But again, we've only been able to pull that off 80% of the time these first 2 months with 3 core physicians so far. But my hope is by summer we have the 2 more and we can extend that.
So
closer.
typically the ones that live like in Bangor or the one that lives in Freeport,
Yeah.
are they doing more like a 8-hour shift now, or
One of them's
when they
doing,
can?
One of them's doing more 8-hour shifts, the other's doing more 12-hour shifts, so it's kind of personal preference.
Okay.
And I don't know how that'll play out over time.
Now, second question, do you, as far as, you said you get the stipend, the physicians get stipends. Is it based on per call, or is it based on number of hours you put in per shift?
It's a split. So the way we're paying our physicians right now is $75 an hour to be on call, and that goes up to $100 an hour if they're directly taking care of a patient, which is big money in EMS. That's 2.5 paramedic hours if you're averaging it at about $30 an hour. For the physicians, that's not what we get paid in the emergency department. So it's an uncomfortable, but it's important to be transparent. That's big money as far as EMS system investment. Is it worth it, right? And that's the big hypothesis. And I
Okay.
think in 2 months of data, you can see what I've given you here. I really think I need a year for me to objectively assess whether that's worth it or whether I need to shift this idea and give the county something different with that amount of money. And I don't know yet. I'm biased. I think it's worth it because I've been doing this for 15 or 20 years on my own in Belgrade and Rome primarily. So I have enough cases where I know the impact I've made personally as a physician. But I need to see that objectively, right? So, and I need to see others assess it other than just me in order to feel confident and comfortable with that type of investment. So to be determined.
Okay, you said the funds only last through September, so would you be looking for the county to grant or pay another 6 months so you can get the data for 1 year?
Yeah, that would be ideal. I think that would be, and then come around for the next fiscal cycle based on that data and make an argument for ongoing if the data showed that that was worth it, right? That would be what I would be most comfortable with, I think. But I don't even know if we'll get that. We may only have until March 19th, the Budget Committee votes. So we will only have 8 weeks of data
Okay,
for
thank
that
you.
decision.
Through the chair. Yeah, I'd like to know, what's the response time? Let's say if you were in Litchfield and we had somebody here in Winslow, what's the response time between the
It's-
people there?
It really needs to be 30 minutes or less.
30 minutes or
Yeah,
less?
if it's longer than 30 minutes, it's probably better to move that patient to a physician in the emergency department, right?
Yeah,
And so a lot of times when I am listening, if it's more than 30 minutes, it's not worth me announcing that I'm on my way, because I will potentially delay decisions. Unless it's something complicated or rare, like a prolonged entrapment in a motor vehicle crash that is trapped for longer than that, then that's where we really are useful, and have been useful.
so the
far.
3 of you that you have right now, are they all on the same time going from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.?
That's
And they
the
cover the
goal.
area? That's the goal, but
The
that's
goal.
not what's happening right now.
It's, I don't have the data on how many shifts are full 12-hour shifts to date, and I can look at that. I have that time card data. But my goal would be to get to 12 hours Monday through Friday. It's been a challenge, as you can see on how many shifts, right, that we have on this graph. You can
Yeah.
see that that's weighing heavily on me
So
at the moment.
this is down the road, then actually you're only going to be covering from 8 to 8 a.m., 8 p.m. When do you plan on covering the other 12 hours where a lot of people have heart attacks or whatever?
Yeah.
Middle of the night. Do you have plans on when you're going to have the people to cover those areas in
I
that
think it would
time?
depend on whether I can prove value with this proof of concept first, right?
So-
the hypothesis would be these hours. If it has enough value and others see that, then I would need further funding,
Okay.
because I would need to extend my call. Or, yeah, there are many ways to look at that value and then make, and do I have the staffing? With these 2 physicians coming, is that enough to get to 365, 7 days a week? The comparison for you would be when you come to see me in the emergency department and you need a urologist or a hand surgeon or a neurologist. I don't have them 365 days a week, 24 hours a day. I have coverage for those subspecialties periodically. And then I lean towards subspecialty centers, right? Bangor, Lewiston.
So this business here is actually in a growing stage, is that
It
correct?
is a proof of concept hypothesis growing stage.
Okay.
That's exactly the way
Thank
to,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peck.
I apologize for taking more time, but I appreciate the questions.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Hey, Ella, if I might through the chair, just really quickly, so if that county budget goes up, then we would get a readjustment here, is that
Right,
correct?
right.
And
We-
it's not in
We
the
pay
budget
our
that-
share of the county budget, and if that county budget goes up, it would have an impact on our taxpayers as well.
Yeah.
A presentation from the Agriculture Committee.
Thank you, and good evening, Council. My name is Kate Newkirk, and I'm the current chair of the Winslow Agricultural Commission. The commission is here to introduce ourselves and give you some background on how the Agricultural Commission was formed and introduce you to our programs and our partnerships. The main, next slide. Okay. The Ag Commission is a group of volunteer members. We have Mike Havener, our vice chair, Steve Russell, doesn't appear to be here tonight, Sally Harwood. Raise your hand, guys. Sally Harwood, Hillary Keene, Rocky Gravel. And our newest member up for approval tonight is Peter Behringer, who I haven't met yet. Nice to meet you. Additional commission members are Judy Mathau and Vanessa Cody with the Assessor's Office, and Amanda McCaslin with the Parks and Recreation Department, all of which are essential to this program. In 2012, the Ag Commission, the Agricultural Working Group, was formed as part of the implementation of the town's 2008 comprehensive plan. The purpose of the group was to explore the ways the town could support the town's agriculture and forestry business, with special emphasis on maintaining the quality agricultural soils that are essential to the financial welfare of the businesses. Agricultural and forestry maintain open spaces and natural environment that tourists expect to experience when they come to Maine, as well as supply local food and commodities. In addition, these businesses require significantly less town services. If a farm has to sell a field or go out of business, the land is developed into house lots, additional costs to the town are incurred for education, road maintenance, police and fire services, among other municipal services. Agricultural and forestry businesses are not only susceptible to the effects of droughts, flooding, pests, and diseases, they are susceptible to the economic changes. Farmers have lost most of the infrastructure needed to get their produce to market. Take, for example, milk production in Maine. The Maine dairy farm. The current price margins for milk are significantly less than they were 20 to 30 years ago, and dairy farmers are being squeezed. There's no wonder Maine has lost close to 1,000 dairy farms over the last 40 or 50 years. In addition, the cost of transporting milk to milk bottling plants and then to the grocer's shelf is a significant cost to the consumer. In Maine, a portion of the conventional milk is bottled either at Oakhurst, Hood, or Smiling Hill processing plants located in or near Portland, at the Holton Dairy up in Aroostook County, while the rest is bottled near Boston. All Maine organic dairies have their milk bottled out of state, either at Stony Field in New Hampshire, Grarwick in Massachusetts, or facilities in New York, as there is no certified organic milk processing plant in the state of Maine. Cost of trucking milk long distances is an additional cost to the consumer for milk on the grocer's shelf. The results of the working group was a document entitled Cultivating Winslow's Agricultural Future, which included 9 strategies for supporting agriculture and forestry businesses. The first strategies implemented were the design and installation of the signage indicating that the town of Winslow is a farm-friendly community, and the formation of the first Maine Agricultural Commission. The Ag Commission Charter was adopted by the Town Council in May of 2014. The Ag Commission acts as a advisory board to the Town Council, Planning Board, or other municipal committees in matters related to agriculture and managed woodlands. The Ag Commission has implemented 3 programs and involved with 2 partnerships over the last 10 years. The Winslow Voluntary Municipal Farm Support Program was adopted by the Town Council in May of 2016. Winslow was the first town in Maine to implement this state program. The program goals are to preserve important agricultural soils, maintain natural resource and biodiversity. The program reimburses taxes on land and farm buildings consistent with their agricultural uses. In return, the farm enters into a 20-year farm support arrangement, basically a conservation easement that works similar to a TIF program. The portion of taxes returned is based on the land's soil type and quality and farm building usage, with a potential of up to 100% of the taxes being reimbursed for the land and farm buildings. The penalty for withdrawing from the program before the end of the 20-year commitment is full reimbursement of taxes plus interest over the time frame of the arrangement. We currently have 2 farms in the program, Hapworth Farm on Haywood Road and Flying Pigs Farm on the Garland Road. Second project is the Winslow Town Forest Ordinance, which was adopted by the Town Council in May of 2021. The forest property is 500 acres, accessible along Albion Road, and is to be kept as a town asset for recreation, education, protection, and conservation of soil and water, resources, and native plant and animal species. Monies for management and development are generated from the harvest of trees on the property, as well as grants, donations, and in-kind services. In October of 2023, we intended to hold the first annual Harvest Festival at Fort Halifax Park. Unfortunately, this event was canceled due to the excessive rain expected that day.
Who's the handsome guy in the picture?
We have rescheduled the first annual festival for Saturday, October 5th, with a rain date of Saturday, October 12th of 2024. This event is going to be held in cooperation with the Fort Halifax Park State Committee, Fort Halifax Days. The first partnership we have is the community gardens, which are located on Delary Street, and is a joint effort of the Ag Commission and the Department of Parks and Recreation. The gardens consist of 30 beds, available on a yearly basis at $10 per bed. Leftover beds are available at no cost to nonprofits to help meet local food needs. The Ag Commission also partners with the St. Joseph's Nature Sanctuary, which is a 4-acre lot at 80 Garland Road. The partners include the Sisters of St. Joseph de Leon, who own the property, Mid-Maine Permaculture, and the Kennebec-Messalonsky Trails. The sanctuary provides meeting spaces and sponsors educational events throughout the year. The local Winslow Girl Scouts hold their regular meetings at the sanctuary, and the Ag Commission has met at the facility on occasion when space is not available at the town offices. Last year, members of the Ag Commission helped with a fundraising and construction of a 3-season outdoor meeting space, that is handicap accessible. No town funds are used by this partnership. Okay. The Ag Commission and I would like to leave you with a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Cultivators of the earth are the most valuable citizens. They are the most vigorous, the most independent, and the most virtuous, and they are tied to their country and wedded to its liberty and interests by the most lasting bonds. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to boards and committee appointments. We have the Agricultural Committee, Peter Behringer.
So moved.
Peter, would you like to say anything before we vote on you?
I didn't know if that would be appropriate, but.
Hi, I'm Peter Behringer, and I just learned that the committee existed a few months ago and was asked if I could participate. I'm a forester, and I work for the U.S. Forest Service, and I went through ask the questions, and they said sure, so here I am, looking forward to working with you guys, unless there's any questions.
The only question, did you meet some of the members of the committee before you?
No, I snuck in here quietly, and
Okay, well,
but I've learned a lot about the commission tonight.
yeah.
Well, you've been in touch with Judy, right?
Yeah.
With the assessor's office. Yeah.
I think that's, if I had to blame somebody, you know,
You can blame your son.
excuse me.
Plead the fifth.
Okay, roll call vote, Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lind.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. And we also have the Fort Halifax Park State Committee, I was given the names of Amanda McCaslin, Ella Bowman, Cara Morse, and Ray Karen, all from the town. Tanya Verzoni and Chris Verzoni, Christine Nichols, Mike Hevener, and Mickey Pouliot.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
No, but if just, this is a committee, but if anybody in the town or anybody here has any ideas or, anything they want to bring forth as what they feel the park should move forward, please feel free to contact Ella, and we can bring those to the meeting and read those to the meeting. So hopefully, the whole town will be involved in the reconstruction of Fort Halifax Park.
Roll call vote. Mike Joseph,
Yes.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Fran Hudson,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Adam Lint,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. On to reports of committees and commissions, the town manager's report.
Thank you, Audra. Good evening, everybody. Members of the Winslow Council and the citizens of Oakland, we've proudly developed and delivered. I'm sorry. That's going to happen to me for years. We proudly delivered the 24-25 budget to the council. If this budget goes as presented, it should not represent a tax increase for our taxpayers this year. It could actually come down some. I'd like to thank Caitlin for her hard work working with me to put this together. This has been a project. The way we do it in Oakland was certainly a little different the way we do it in Winslow, but this is a big budget, and I think it came out well. We've begun planning and permitting process for the Kennebec River crossing at Chafee Pump Station. As you know, that got delayed, and unfortunately, we've discovered that we have to go through the entire permitting process again. This is probably going to come at a little additional cost, and it's probably going to be pushed off until September or October, so there's going to be a pause in that process. The town of Winslow was awarded a $6.8 million bond by the Municipal Bond Bank, and what that's going to do is that's going to pay for the pumping station. The problem is that pumping station is in a floodplain, and as the Kennebec River rises, it gets into those pumps and it causes a failure. And when that happens, you're pumping a lot of raw sewage into the Kennebec River, and that's just not permissible. So this new design that we're going to have is actually going to waterproof this whole process, and we won't be seeing it flood out again, hopefully, if everything goes well. As Ray had mentioned, we assembled the Fort Halifax Park Stage Committee. This is about designing and ferreting out information over where we're going to locate this stage. For this last summer has been brutal down there. The peninsula runs out into the Kennebec, and with the flow of the water, when it rises, it goes right over the top of the peninsula, and any structures that are on that facility or on that piece of property gets flooded out. So we're going to be looking at how we can relocate that possibly and design that so we don't have to deal with this again. The goal is to offer a summer music series. The area communities have been offering a fresh air music event. You can find one pretty much every night in the summertime in this immediate region. This is a quality of life project that we've all come together. Winslow has not participated in this, and I'm planning on bringing it to the table. This is a free concert. We find that a lot of seniors attend these. It gives them a place to go with their lawn chairs and listen to good music. So I really want to see Winslow climb on board on this, and I think it brings a lot of value, not only to our taxpayers, but the growth of the region. I want to remind everybody that this month we're going to be beginning our 2 council meetings, which is going to be something new. And I'm hoping that by having 2 council meetings a month, we're going to be able to shorten up the agenda, so we won't have to sit in here for 3 hours. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Through the chair, I have a question for you, Ella. The money that we need to do to fix the park, did we get insurance money on that, and how much was that?
We're going to get we are going to get insurance money, Mike. What we've got is a total of $25,000 that we're covered. That has to cover a lot of the different damaged areas. We're finding that the roof on the Public Works garage was also had lifted, so that's going to have to be addressed as well. So we got to share that money. I'm hoping to get the bulk of it. for this project here. In the town of Oakland, we built a $44,000 gazebo for this same project, and we got it all on donations. And what we did was we had a plaque out there, and we listed people's names, and maybe that's something that we're gonna be able to utilize to help build this thing.
Do we have an estimate on what it's going to cost the town to fix the park?
No, not at this point in time. We're just getting started on it.
Okay.
The gazebo was the big loss. We have some structures that were over picnic tables and not the gazebo, I'm sorry, the stage was a big loss. And then some of the other stuff got damaged, but not to the same degree as the stage.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other department reports? Peter, are you? Did you want to say? You're here.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words about the school department, how the school department is doing currently. First thing I'd like to do is to thank the police, the local police. And the reason I'd like to thank the local police is because they have helped us make the entryway to the elementary school a safer place in the morning. There's about a 15-minute window when a lot of cars go by, the buses are trying to come in. Sometimes we have some people who are wanting to get by there a little bit faster than they should have. And our buses are having a hard time pulling in safely. And the local police just being a presence there has helped us tremendously. So it's made that area much safer. So I thank Lenny McDade and his staff for helping us out with that. I'd like to thank members of the town council who have attended some of our board meetings. Building a budget for a school is a very long process. It's a very tedious process. A lot of thought goes into it in terms of what your goals are, in terms of what your needs are, in terms of being fiscally responsible. When we bring a budget to you, it's been totally vetted. We do not bring a budget to you that has fluff in it. It's based on our needs, and a lot of work goes into cutting that budget before it ever comes to you. So that is being worked on right now. We have another meeting that's coming up on the 26th to do some more cost centers, high school budget, high school athletics, maintenance, transportation. That will all be on the 26th. We'll have another meeting in March, a date to be determined. We'll have to be a special meeting so that we can continue with our other cost centers. As always, I would encourage you to visit the Winslow Public Schools Proud Moment websites so that you can see that we try to capture a snapshot of the things that our students are doing. One of the things that you'll see on that website, if you go there, are the Technical Center Local Skills Championships, where we have many of our students participated, earned medals in the gold, bronze, and silver medal categories. It was very exciting for our kids. You'll also see a segment that was approved, that appeared on Fox 22 Bangor News recently, highlighting a program at Winslow High School called College and Career CAF. So take a moment, check out the website, and I think you'll be very impressed with that. I'll leave you with the following. A cheering team. I don't know if anybody was at the Augusta Civic Center this past weekend on Saturday. But our cheering team won the KVAC's champions in Class B. They went to the States. This Saturday. They placed fifth place overall in state competition. They did an outstanding job. So those are some of the things that are happening. Thank you.
If I might, through the chair, Peter, I know that tomorrow, I believe, at 3:30, unified basketball game.
Begins, absolutely.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I just recommend anybody who hasn't seen one of those games to go to the game. I know it's at 3:30 during the day, but it's a special occasion, and I know every time I go, I'm just thrilled to be there and see the activities.
Absolutely.
Is that the high school?
Yep, at the high school, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Is there any other departments? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the report?
Motion, I motioned.
Second. Yep.
Okay, Mike Joseph,
Yes.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Fran Hudson,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Adam Lint,
Yes.
and Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, and now we're on to public comment. Do I have anyone from the public that would like to speak?
And in this portion of the meeting, it is 3 minutes to speak on any subject that is not part of the agenda.
Hey, good evening. My name is Steve Susi, and I live on Sam Street in Winslow. I'm here, I want to express, well, first of all, I'll preface this with what occurred. Thanksgiving morning, I was involved in a single vehicle, single occupant rollover accident on the West River Road. I hit black ice, walked away with a scratch on my hand, thankfully. But subsequently, I was billed for $445 from the Waterville Fire Department. So that prompted me, and that was because my insurance company refused the bill because it didn't involve, the typical ambulance fee and did not involve property damage. So in looking into town codes, I realized that numerous towns throughout the state of Maine have a similar code. In Winslow, it's called Chapter 128, Emergency Services Fees. And while I recognize the importance of funding essential services, I believe we should carefully consider the impact of these fees on Mainers, while also strongly emphasizing that we all pay taxes in our respective communities for these services. The concept of using fees to offset costs was first brought forth and presented to the town council in July of 2019 by former Fire Chief Rodriguez with good intent. His stated purpose was to help recoup expenses incurred while responding to incidents, and that other towns had implemented similar ordinances. No other tangible purpose, though, was outlined. Chief Rodriguez chose his words carefully to emphasize that he did not want to double dip, meaning the town should not be charging Winslow residents since they are already paying taxes for these services. However, upon researching this and speaking with the town finance manager, nobody seemed to realize that Winslow residents are not to be charged, and I'd go as far as to say it's potentially illegal for the same reason that Chief Rodriguez was trying to stay away from double dipping. The ordinance was crafted by a former town manager and put to roll call in August of 2019. The representative from Central Maine Cost Recovery, which is the company, the third-party billing agency that's contracted through the town of Winslow, failed to show up at the town council meeting, and town council member through the chair, Ray Karen, respectfully requested that the representative from Central Maine Cost Recovery please show up at the next meeting and provide information and answer questions. They never did. The ordinance was unanimously voted in September of 2019. Now, when it comes to the schedule of fees, I don't know who created it or where it came from, but the town of Winslow does have a schedule of fees. Look it up on the town website. Per Chapter 128, subsection 3, billing rates and fees shall be set by the town council annually, and that has not occurred. Per Chapter 128, subsection 5, all revenue shall be placed in a fire department revenue account, and no such account exists. Since no fire department revenue account exists, what account were collected fees deposited into? And what was the money spent on? I requested information on fees collected for 21, 22, and 23, and I received 4 receipts for 21 totaling $2,420 collected, 4 receipts in 2022 totaling $1,280, and nothing for 2023. It's important to keep in mind that the contract lapsed in 2023. Through further research through Central Maine Cost Recovery, I found that there are 65 tickets pending for the year 2023. So I'm not sure how the town is billing people with a lapsed contract. Our emergency services are not merely a commodity, but a necessary service. The imposition of emergency services fees should have been transparent and clearly communicated to residents so that we understand the purpose, the calculation, and the utilization of these fees. However, since none of this occurred, I implore the town council to abolish said ordinance from the town code. Thank you for your time.
Through the chair, can I just comment? Steve? Steve?
Yes.
Hi, just 1 second. First and foremost, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I was not aware of this at all.
Sure, a lot of
And
people weren't.
I will go on record to say that I'm not a fan of these ordinances.
It's a money grab from insurance companies.
Well,
And it causes insurance rates to go up.
right,
So the residents are paying taxes for these services, but meanwhile, and people don't know that their insurance company is getting billed. I would have never known about this bill until my insurance company said, we're not paying this,
right.
so.
I'm not the council.
Right.
That's my personal philosophy on this, okay? And we've tried to address this in the last town, and I managed to convince people to walk away from it. So I don't know where the council's gonna go with this, but we have set up some of the issues that we're going. I was not aware of it, and I'm trying to pull things back together, as I said to you in one of the
Sure.
emails. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Through the chair. Steve, I agree with most everything you said. Fortunately, that ordinance that you cited was very limited in the areas that we could collect the fees on. I think it was limited to.
Well, it varies from town to
Yeah,
town.
but-
Through my research,
But ours that we have here in Winslow,
yeah, it's very weak.
it's very limited. It's limited to fire permit violations, hazardous waste, vehicle crashes, vehicle fires,
Right,
and sprinkler system and alarms.
Yep,
That's specifically limited just to those.
that's it.
Fortunately, it doesn't include all of the EMS services, all of the others. And I think,
Well-
I'm only 1-2 on the council, but I agree with Ellen,
Yeah,
it may not even be legally enforceable.
that's my point.
Yes.
Through the chair, is this something that we can vote on tonight?
No,
No.
Okay.
it has to be,
Repeal?
to repeal it, it has to have public hearing.
Okay.
It can
And
definitely be
absolutely
put on
nothing,
the,
I know we have some firefighters here tonight, so I just want to say, there's nothing personal, it's just straight business. Through my research, I really found that, this, it's just a money grab, for insurance companies, and I don't agree with it.
And I don't think Waterville goes after residents.
No, they don't, and that's the thing, can
Only
you really
because
have
you
an
are a
ordinance
non-resident.
that is selective to one demographic? Is that even legal?
Yeah.
Through the chair, also, the money you said that's been collected so far doesn't amount to hardly anything, so it doesn't seem like it's worth
Right.
all the trouble.
Right, and Central Maine Cost Recovery, they take anywhere from 15 to 20% off the top, from whatever is collected. So. Anything
thank you,
else?
Steve.
Thank you.
Fran?
Hi, my name is Eileen King. Never done this before, probably never do it again. 80 years old, they say you can do anything, so here I am.
Eileen, where do you live?
Winslow, Maine,
What street?
Halifax Street.
Thank you.
And my situation is transportation. We have no transportation for the seniors, and the taxis are out of control. There's only one that I know of, and I've tried all three that I know of. And there's only one that is takeable, transportable, and we used to have a bus that stopped here at the library. I moved in 9 years ago. We used to have a bus. Stopped here, I think it was Thursday. Then I got a car. Then the transportation stopped, and because of what's on the roads today, I decided I'm not driving anymore, because they're always gonna blame the old guy, or the old girl. So, I gave up my car only to find out there's no buses, there's no transportation, there's nothing for us. What can we do for the seniors? Why can't we get the bus back, the private bus? It was not a KV cap that only takes you to your doctors. We do have different things through insurance and things now to set up rides and so on. But it's, as I say, where is our bus? We looked forward to that bus. That was our outing. That was our get out for the day. So that's what I'm into. Transportation for the elderly, we just don't have any. And it's costing an arm and a leg, which we don't have too many of those left either. So, yeah, the $30 to $40 just to go and pick up some groceries or do whatever you want to do. So it's kind of out of control, and I just thought maybe there's something we can do, get something going for the seniors.
KV cap is, I think, the only option there is in the region. Waterville utilizes them, Fairfield utilizes them. I'm not sure why Winslow doesn't. I haven't been in the game long enough.
Well, I was told, I've been researching this for over a year now, and I was told that Winslow doesn't pay to have this done. They took it out of the budget. Why did they take us seniors for a bus out of the budget? So we did have it, so where did it go? Type thing.
Through the chair, KV Cap's still transporting Winslow people.
Only to doctors or medical.
Doctors?
Only medical. No transportation to groceries or anything else. We have nothing. We have to go and get a taxi for no matter what we want to do. If we want to go to the post office and then go to get some shopping, then you got 2 charges. It's just, it's incredible the amount of money we're paying in taxis. And as I say, there's no, if they could pay before to get that bus here, even if it's 1 day a week.
It didn't?
There's no reason, why did they stop paying? Maybe people stopped by taking the bus. That's not why you stop public transportation. So we're still out here looking for public transportation because we have no taxis. There are no taxis. Trust me, there are no taxis. And what we have is iffy. Okay? Any questions?
Through the chair. Yes. I have a question for you. I'm over here.
Okay, I can never tell where they're coming from.
That's all right. How long ago did the bus stop?
Well, the timeline on that would probably be, I got my car 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So I would say it was after that, because I wasn't paying attention to the bus, but it was sometime after that the bus was no longer. I gave my car up a year and a half ago, and that's when I looked for the bus again, only to find out that we don't have any.
So that bus there, when you did have that bus there, they used to take you to the doctors, they used to take you grocery shopping?
No.
Okay.
That bus only took you to certain places.
Okay.
Okay, it wasn't a private, it was public. So if you wanted to go to Walmart, and then they'd come back in 3 hours to pick you up. If you wanted to go to the concourse, you could go there. In other words, it had a special route, you had to be within that route, and that was fine, because it was groceries or whatever we wanted.
Do you remember the company that was giving you that?
It was KV Cap.
It was KV Cap?
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Thank you.
And the guy's name was Mike that used to drive that bus. I don't know if he's still with them or not.
Thank you.
Okay,
But it
thank you.
was Winslow that paid. And they stopped paying for whatever reason.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here, to see if we can't get that back on the budget.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Ella, you gonna look into that?
Yes, and I know him very well over there, but it will be an addition for the budget. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
they do have a route.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with her. We're in an aging society. I mean, seniors are starting to come up. There's more of us than what there is younger people. So I think that the more we can offer as senior citizens, it makes for a healthier community.
So can you get those budget figures, and during the budget process, we can, in the next month,
I can come up with something for you.
we can see what we can do.
Okay.
Through the chair, I just had a quick question. I'm sorry, not about that, but instead of saying the street they live on, can't they just say what district they live in? Because some people aren't comfortable giving their address.
Some people don't know their district, so we've asked to have their, I don't need their number.
I think they can say district too, though.
If they want to give me
It's
their
in the
district.
charter that they can say district instead of their street.
If they like to give me their district, that's fine.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Mike Lubier. I live in District 1 on 873 Augusta Road. And that's on the west side of the road. So I have a complaint, unfortunately. After watching the previous council meeting, I reached out to my particular counselor, Mr. Joseph, and wanted to requesting an opportunity to communicate with you, seeing how you're my new counselor. I'm one of your constituents. And when I sent that text, I was hoping to be able to meet with you the following week. I had some questions. And you said, what is your intent of this conversation? And I said, just a few follow-up questions from the last meeting. And you said, for what purpose? Thought you were being a little defensive.
Point of order. I thought you weren't supposed to talk badly about any of the counselors. He can email him, right? Instead of trying to insult him here now.
He's died.
He's not?
I don't think he's
Okay, go
insulting
ahead.
anybody at this
As long as you're
point.
not insulting him.
I said, I'd like to know your thoughts on a few things, like the old junior high update on the ambulance, which at that time, after that meeting, you were supposed to meet the following week, or that week on a Wednesday, I believe, the 17th. And as well as future budget reductions. And you said, I believe you need to get those answers by going to the council meetings and voice your concerns. So here I am. I believe the town should hear your voice in matters at hand and voice your concerns. And I said, are you actually refusing to take my call, Mike? Really? And
Point of order,
with a
just for a minute,
3-minute
please.
time
Just
limit.
Point of order, just for a minute. I think instead of, if I would rephrase going forward, Mike, I would rephrase it that my counselor, instead of saying a name, it says my district counselor. I think when you get into names, and I think that we all know who your counselor is now, but I think
Well,
that.
you asked to know what district I was in.
Yeah, we know that, and I would just be a little careful.
Can I get a reset on my time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
please.
do that.
So, my counselor responded, he's absolutely not refusing to answer my questions. Just wanted me to come before the council. So, the reason after that conversation, I was trying to wonder what the heck was going on, that there was so much concern about talking to me. I mean, I did support the previous counselor that was from that district, but I never said a bad word about Mr. Joseph in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I guess I just used his name again. So I reached out to several other counselors trying to find out, what am I missing here? There's more to this than I know. And come to find out, there was. And through a little bit more digging, I was able to determine that there was in fact an email regarding the discussion with the Waterville Fire Chief. I won't mention his name. And during that particular meeting, there was a confrontation or a message read by the chairman, and there was some confrontation, some issues around two councilors that had kind of gone around behind the backs of the rest of the chair and
Point of order,
management.
I've really
And apparently,
going around the chair.
there was some disagreement on what really happened. Well, I happen to have
This
the
is all
letter
stuff that's
here,
been out already.
or the email, that clearly states that the counselor called me on my cell phone. This is from the fire chief in Waterville. And he said, in no way, shape, or form did I reach out to him. He reached out
It's
to
all
me.
public knowledge.
And you said it no less than 5 times in a 10-minute period, that you did not initiate that meeting. And yet,
We're not doing anything, Fran.
the fire chief from Waterville is adamant, in no way, shape, or form did I call Counselor so-and-so and request a meeting, period. And I find this behavior appalling. And had you been willing to talk to me, we could have sorted through this.
Mike, your time is up.
But you wanted it here, and so you got it. So I'd like to know what your response is.
Through the chair, I'd like to respond to that. That particular meeting was an extended meeting with Esler and the town manager and his boss. That was only for inquiry. I do not have to answer to Eller or any of the councilmen. They then, I should say, Esler and his manager had extended that to Ella, asking for Ella if Ella would want to go. I asked if I could have Fran be there because she knows more about it than I do. But this is only for inquiry only. It wasn't discussing any business whatsoever. So I didn't have to have any permission from any counselor, nor did I have a permission from the town manager. Now, did I want to have Eller? It didn't matter. It was only for my information to understand as far as the per diems with the ambulances and to see what we could do here for this town. There was nothing secret about it. It didn't make any difference in when I said it or who I said it to or even the times that I talked about. So with that being said, that was all about inquiry, and I have the perfect right through MMA told me that I could do that anytime I wanted to. So what was transferred between Ella and brought over to Mr. West was probably incorrect. Probably Mr. West jumped to that conclusion as far as I was doing something illegal. I don't know if it was transferred from Ella that way, but after he found out, after Mr. West found out and we spoke, I said this was only for inquiry only and nothing else. So I didn't do anything wrong, nor was there any secret meeting. But the only thing I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, I said the reason why I wanted you to talk to this council, that's the reason why, because I know for a fact that you, with Peter, you said and you responded saying we don't need any newbies to become counselors because Peter knew more of anything. Other than that, that's why I said, hey, ask the council.
My point is, you sat here and denied that you reached out.
We're way over time on this.
And yet, the email supports that.
It doesn't matter.
That you did.
Mr. Chairman, can I just say one thing real quick? Last meeting, and I'm not gonna criticize anybody or anything, I'm just gonna say this. Last meeting, there was some discussion on what was said, what was done, and that stuff. What I'm going to say is just this. The members of the public, anybody out there can review a videotape of that meeting last month. It's on our website, Facebook. If you don't know how to get it, Audra, I'm sure, can help you find it if you give her a call. Subsequent to that meeting, an email trail came out that is a matter of public record. That is not, I don't believe it's on our website or Facebook, but it's a matter of public record. That is available in the town office to anybody who wants to get it. And the only thing I'll say is, folks, listen to the videotape, read those email trails, and make your own decisions on what was accurate. That's all I'm gonna ask you.
Through
Review
the chair.
tape and review the email trail, and see what your thoughts are.
You're fine. Go ahead.
That's all.
I just want to clarify that it was said that we went to a meeting. We never went to the meeting. You know when we went to the meeting? This past Monday. So we didn't go to no secret meeting. The meeting was just held, and that's all I'm going to say.
And Eller also came.
That's right.
Just one last thing, Jeff. My comments that I just made have nothing to do with the meeting that you attended.
That's fine. I didn't say it did.
It has to do with the meeting we had in this room last month and the email trail that came out after that.
Okay.
And just let the public look at both of them and you make your own decisions on what.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Thank you.
If I might, really quickly.
Sure.
I've been doing this business for 15 years. I have sometime not spoken to my constituents because they disrespected, and I felt that I could not communicate with them because they disrespected me, and I didn't want to disrespect them. To the first line of defense for always for for people that have a complaint about if they feel their counselors won't talk to them or whatever, and I've done it, is to go to Ella, is for the citizens to go to Ella, and Ella then to communicate with the counselor or with, and other town managers have done that with me. The important thing is that you can also go to other counselors if you want to. This is a open, democracy. All the counselors can talk to anybody. I talk to people in other districts all the time. Some people don't feel comfortable with their counselor. Some people know me better. They feel more comfortable talking to me. I welcome that 100 times. But what can happen, and what should never happen, is that we stop the communication among the council. If this continues, it gives a poor reflection of the town of Winslow, and things should be handled, especially on a personal matter, outside of council meetings, as much as we can possibly do. Not that we don't want to resolve these issues. We do want to resolve the issues. We do want to clarify the issues with the citizens of the town, but we can't continue to have this adversary type of people coming or that here. We've got to try to avoid that at all costs.
Audra.
We have one more, if you.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see him behind the post.
Brenda Lind, District 5. In follow-up to Councilman Ray comments on 179 of the PDF that was included to this meeting, there is a section on public comment. I learned a lot by reading that. Public comment is just that. It's time for the public to come in to address the council, anybody in the audience with concerns. It is to be 3 minutes. We cannot share our minutes with anybody else. And there is to be no back and forth discussion between the council and the person making the comments. I think this is how we've gotten into the mess we're in now, because of the banter that goes back and forth. If at the time I have a question that I want to address the council with, I will leave you with some of my 3 minutes to address that. Other than that, please be respectful. That is my 3 minutes. It is not to include discussion from the council nor banter back and forth, and perhaps we'll have a better working relationship with everybody, because as Ray said, this is going nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, public comment is closed.
On to tabled business. Resolution number 6-2024, providing for authorization for the Public Safety Director to determine which one of Winslow's ambulance is the least desirable and sell it.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to remind everybody that the reason why this is on today's agenda is because I wanted to make sure that our 3 new councilors were able to participate in this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Take it off the table? Are we doing that?
Move the thing off the table.
Second.
Okay,
We're in discussion
We're in
now.
discussion now.
okay. Do I need a roll call vote to take it off the table?
Yes.
Mike Joseph?
Yes.
Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Fran Hudson?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Adam Lind?
Yes.
Lee Trahan?
Yes.
And Jeff West?
Yes.
So a motion to take it off the table passes 7-0. Now we can do discussion.
Here's my feeling on that particular issue. We have some decisions to make in the future about whether, we do transfers or not transfers. I think selling that ambulance at this point in time would be premature. I think we should wait, make our decisions in the next month or two, and then make a decision on whether we want to. So I would suggest, I don't know if we can put it back on the table, Jeff, or not, if we decide to table it again.
We can
Okay, so
table it if need be.
Was it still for discussion, though?
it's still on,
We're
we're
still-
still in
we're still
discussion now.
discussion.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, is to table it for future.
Through the chair? First of all, of course, I know you'll say why, but I'm curious as to why we own 3 ambulances. They're all paid for. We currently run out, not just on one call at a time, but sometimes it's happening where we're actually sending 2 ambulances on calls at the same time. So God forbid something happens to one of those ambulances, because then if you sell that 3rd one, we don't have one. I don't understand, like he said, also the transfers coming down the road and the possible increase in calls to neighboring towns if that happens with the big ambulance company, you know, being able to continue or not. If you own all 3, I don't want to see a time where the people of Winslow are going to have to buy another one, spend more money, when you don't need to. There's 3 right there, all paid for. It's housed all inside. I went twice to see, with all the trucks, all 3 ambulances fit inside, and even if they didn't, all police cruisers are outside year-round. My vehicle's outside year-round. So and they also use it for utility vehicle, don't they? They're currently using it for, when we had the big storm, they went out with chainsaws, generators. They used that ambulance to get to people to help them get their trees out of the way and their generators started. So I just wanted to say, I think too, like Ray, it's a bad idea going down the road to sell something that we own. And the striker caught in the back. In the days when I worked, you had to lift those. Now they have automatic loaders. Those are $40,000 just for that to be placed in the back of an ambulance. And we have it in all of them, so you probably want to keep that ambulance.
Can I, what do you guys say something?
Well, you guys were in comment, so.
Yeah, no, now I think we're ready to listen.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Maybe not,
First,
I
before
guess.
they do.
Go ahead, Mr. Macklin.
With the 3rd ambulance, what's happening here is a typical domino effect, and it happens in a lot of towns and a lot of issues. The ambulance service started out with 1 ambulance. Arguments were made, we need a 2nd one for backup. Now we're at the spot where we need a 3rd one to back up the first 2. When's it gonna stop? We'll get 3, they'll all be going, we'll need a 4th one. Okay, fine, I don't mind that. But realize one thing, folks. To add another ambulance, you're gonna need more people. If that ambulance has to go out as a 3rd ambulance out at that time, we don't have the staff for it right now. We run a 4-man shift. 2 are out on 1 ambulance, 2 are out on the other one. The 3rd call comes in, the 3rd ambulance can't go out anyway.
That's where your backup crew comes in.
That's let me finish. Let me finish. At some point, this budget is gonna get killed unless you want your taxes to go up some more. And I don't know whether I favor keeping it or not, but just keep in mind, if we keep it and we man it, you're adding another $500,000 to the budget over time. And sooner or later, we're gonna have to buy another one. Yeah, they're all paid for right now. There's no money in it. 5 years from now, how are we gonna buy a new ambulance to replace one of the old ones? So a decision has to be made on how far we're gonna go with the ambulance service in comparison with our budget.
That's about it. Yeah.
Gentlemen?
So with the ambulance, we're currently using it for a utility right now, because our utility is being repaired, after an accident in November. Should be back hopefully in a couple of weeks. We do, if we have more than 2 ambulance calls at a time, that ambulance does go out. It is to first response, it is not to transfer at this time. I don't have a stretcher for it. None was ever bought. That was before me. I can't answer you why it was not bought, but it wasn't. So what we're using it for now is utility. We do use it as the backup. If a truck breaks down, it beats leasing one. And that's what happens at other towns. They have to lease the ambulance from wherever. 90% of the times it's an ambulance company. So we save the cost with not leasing one if one goes down.
What's the cost of lease?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I can find that out, but I do know that Waterville has to lease sometimes, and I don't know how that works out. Sometimes you'll see a red, white, yellow, or something sitting in the bay. It's because one of their units are down, so they had to lease an ambulance to come to cover calls. But, I mean, that would be our end goal, was if we do, like you would, the council through the chair, like you said, if we do transfers, that would be the truck that would be doing the transfers. It's all ready to go, it's serviceable, I just need a cot and a stair chair at some point, but that's when you decide.
Through the chair. So we don't have three $40,000 striker cots in those three ambulances?
No, we have a trolley system, so we have an automatic cots in two. The trolley system alone that allows that striker to be lifted up and put in, that's 40,000 by itself.
Okay, and we'd have to buy that for that ambulance?
Nope, we have it. We only need a stretcher, which is about 15,000.
I see, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
15,000 for a stretcher?
Well, yes. This also, with those power stretchers, most of them have the power stretchers. Most towns have the power stretchers. They don't have the trolleys. We just lucked out and had the trolley in that, or whoever bought it lucked out and had that trolley system in it. So.
Through the chair, can I just ask why you want to sell one? Why you're even looking at selling one?
I don't think we are, Fran.
I thought that's what
No,
it said.
so it was brought up when I first came to Winslow, before I was the deputy chief. It was on the ballot. And I believe it was, and it was tabled, and something happened, and I don't know what. I don't know. Can anybody?
That ambulance was actually supposed to be sold,
Years ago.
well, not years ago, but
So why are
a
we
year
talking
ago.
about it now?
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I just say, how we acquired that ambulance. The second ambulance was approved by the council back then, they ordered a new ambulance. The company didn't get it to us in time for the deadline that we wanted it. So they said, well, okay, we'll send you one, and we'll lease it to you, with the lease payments going to the purchase price of the one we were supposed to get. When the one we were supposed to get came in, the leasing company came to the town and said, we don't want it back. You want to buy it? That was bought for $19,000. Why that price was, because it was kept under $20,000, so it didn't have to go through the council. That's how that third ambulance.
The council didn't even know it was purchased till after it was purchased.
But that was-
Never had a clue.
Right, but that's before him.
No, that was before.
Right.
I think when
So it was not an approved third ambulance by the council back then. For a year and a half, that vehicle sat behind the town, behind the fire department, never moved.
Right.
That's the history of it.
Well, she just said
So it wasn't
they don't
approved
want
as if we approved a
So why is
third
it on the agenda?
ambulance. That's how it got purchased.
And I believe the reason, and the town manager can correct me, I believe the reason it's on the agenda is because out of respect for the new council coming in, she made the decision that she would leave it up to you guys. I believe it's in her privy to sell it without even your approval, but she didn't want to do that.
Well, technically it is.
And the only thing I will add to that is Mike's the expert, I'll take what he has to say, but I know in the meeting we were in last week with Chief Ashlow, who's also a seasoned fire chief, he had mentioned that they handle 6 times more complaints as us. And they have 3 ambulances for the town of the city of Waterville, which is much bigger than us. And he says he rarely uses that third ambulance. So if you think it's something we need, as the councilors, we'll continue to keep it. It's up to you at this point.
Mr. Chairman, Waterville gets 3 to 4 times the calls we do, and they have 3 ambulances.
They have 3, yeah.
If we want to spend the money, sure, we can do it.
You're not spending money.
It's gonna cost money in the end, they all cost money in the end. And you're gonna have to add another shift, to have 3 ambulances on the road at a time.
We're not planning on staffing the ambulance. It's a backup ambulance.
They're just discussing keeping the ambulance, not
Right.
selling
We're
it.
we're not talking about staffing to 3 ambulances at this time. My thought was it was for the voting purpose of keeping it.
So you're gonna stand there, Mr. Chairman, and say that the third ambulance is gonna be a backup only, when one of the first 2 are down?
And it's being currently used as utility right now, correct?
until the utility truck gets back.
Mhm.
And after that, the third ambulance will only be used when one of the first two are down.
Yes.
Which is what's been happening anyway.
Again.
What's that? I'm
I
sorry.
said unless your utility truck goes down again, then.
Right, it's a 2005 and things happen.
I'm surprised the insurance company fixed it.
Huh?
So I'm surprised the insurance company's fixing it.
You and me both, to be
Took a while,
honest with
took a
you.
while.
Took a while, but yes, to find parts, but yes.
Oh, sure, Bill.
Hold on, you're gonna have to come to the podium,
I can, yeah.
to ask your question, sorry.
Microphone to hand to people.
Or a comment.
Your name?
Bill Carey,
Thank you.
1149 China Road. As we were discussing earlier, the third ambulance might be used for transfers, if you get into that.
Correct.
Transfers will be paid for by insurance companies, not, or the individual.
Correct.
So that's not gonna be a cost to the town.
It depends how much money you can recoup back.
Right.
But
I mean,
yes, right.
overall, it should wash out. So if we're gonna keep the third ambulance for the transfers, technically, why would you want to sell it? Or transfers and/or a backup?
Right. I didn't want to sell it. It was previously on the ballot too, and they just kept putting it off and off and off. I would like to keep it for said reasons.
And if you do get into the transfer situation, the people doing the transfers will be volunteer, or on
Well,
call.
it'll be on call, but that's up to,
Volunteer,
that's.
that's not gonna be staff, regularly staffed.
No,
So that's just gonna be when needed.
correct. Right. We just started the ball rolling on that, or was told that we were gonna be discussing it, so we have to get stuff ironed out first before we do that.
Okay. That's-
Yeah,
I just
no, I
wanted
got
to
you.
clarify that. And the other thing is, if you pay $19,000 for the ambulance, and you got a $40,000 piece of equipment in the back of it, why would you get rid of it?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, if I can make a motion that I would like to keep this on, make a motion to table this for future discussions.
We have a second?
Second. I was hoping. So,
A motion to put it back on the table?
back on the table at the present time, yep.
Mike?
So,
Discussion.
any discussion on tabling it, if they want to keep it tabled or not?
Why do we have to put it on the table? Why can't we just?
I just made my motion. That's what I made. If somebody else wants to make a motion to do something different, they can. My motion right now is a table, so. So that's what I want to, that's what I'll do. I mean, there still is that's my motion. So if there's a second to the motion, are we in the discussion phase at this time?
You had a
We're in the
second.
discussion
Second.
phase, so.
Yes.
I mean, at this point, budgets are just around the corner. I say we table it till we're done with the budgets and then figure out from there where we're gonna go. The budget's gonna dictate a lot of this.
Yep, I think so. And the decision whether we're gonna do transfers or not, it's gonna make into that decision, so you can either, and I would just table it till we make those decisions.
Yeah. I'll probably agree to table, Rafe, just for one reason, because it's, the way it's written, it says, and sell it. So we get around that. I want to emphasize the point again, coming from Mr. Murphy, that his intent to keep that third ambulance is only for a backup of the first two. Okay. So I will probably vote to table it.
Anyone else? Roll call, please. Oh, sorry, Mike.
Yeah, I do have something to say. When we had that meeting last Monday with Ella, Fran, myself, Essler, and Bill, and the city manager in Waterville, yeah, they have 3 right now. And they heard that we're possibly selling it. He thought it was foolish that we sell it, and says if we sell it, they would be interested in buying it for that amount of money. So that's one heck of a deal. If we wind up selling it, they're going to be able to do something with it. And to make sure that everybody knows here in Winslow that Delta is floundering. We need the ambulance service now. I was not agreeing to have the ambulance back when it first started. I was totally against it. But because we actually need that service, I don't want to see anybody that needs to be transferred, and I know this personally, to go to Portland and take 17 hours to get there because we don't have a transfer here in Winslow. That's all I would say.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman? Real quick. For somebody to come before this council and says that a private business or an enterprise business in this town is floundering is a misstatement. Delta Ambulance is not floundering. Delta Ambulance will survive. The hospitals will not let Delta Ambulance survive. The hospitals have thrown a hell of a lot of money at Delta in the last 6 months. The state is going to do it when the legislature gets their act together down in Augusta, and they're doing it right now. To say that Delta is floundering is not the right statement.
Through the chair, could we have a roll call, please?
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
So motion to put it back on the table passes 7-0. Okay, on to old business. Order number 40-2023, providing for authorization for the town manager to sign the attached agreement with Seacoast to upgrade and maintain the security camera system at the town office complex for an amount not to exceed $7,000.
Do we have a motion?
Motion. I move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Andra, I'm glad you changed that from 7 million.
It wasn't 7 million. It was a lot of change at the end.
Just a zero.
It's not to exceed it, so, we can keep it at 7,000.
Ella, would you like to speak on this at all?
I mean, this is the same thing we talked about before. I would recommend going with Seacoast. We're using them currently. $7,000 is a bargain.
Yep. Anybody else? Roll call?
Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, on to new business. Ordinance number 1-2024, providing to repeal the trustee of public cemetery ordinance, sections 18-31 through 34, adopted on October 11th, 1972, by ordinance number 24-2027, and amending in its entirety October 13th, 2020, by ordinance number 5-2020. This is a public hearing to start.
Yep.
Anyone from the public that would like to speak on that?
Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
I have a motion.
A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, ordinance number 2-2024, providing to appeal the Board of Directors of Senior Citizen Association 18-36 through 43, which was adopted May 13th of 1974 by ordinance number 35/1974. And this again is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak?
And I'm assuming this is just to clean up some
It is.
some housekeeping.
Yep, the last time that we've had anyone on the board was 2010 to 2011. The last time the board was fully with its 5 members was 2005, 2006 timeframe. So it is just a kind of a cleanup item, just,
What did they do?
we're not quite sure. I do have kind of the minutes of what they did, but it was kind of unclear. I think a lot of services now that are in place for senior citizens
I'm not in place anymore.
are, well, we're not in place in 1974, so it's been on the roster. And
Well, maybe we need this senior citizen association.
What is it?
No, what is it?
I've had, it's very limited.
Through the chair, Spectrum Generations of Maine and Waterville takes care of a lot of what we used to do here in these towns. We have organizations that are regional now. So it really had nothing to do with what you can get hold of, right? You can get everything through the regionalized
Well-
organization. I understand the transportation thing, and I'm gonna be working on that for you,
Right,
okay?
but there's other senior problems too, and you're saying Spectrum.
And Spectrum Generations handles a lot of them.
They're not handling a lot
Okay,
of them.
what you need to do is come in and see me at the town office,
Okay.
and we can sit down and chat about it.
Super duper.
Thank you.
Okay, that closes the public hearing.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Yeah, Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes?
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lynch.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, ordinance number 3-2024, providing for an amendment to section 391, definitions to the town code, to add the definition of event venue, and 347, chapter 3 of the town code, to add the conditional uses event venue by adding the underlined text per the attached copy, which everyone should have received in their agenda.
We have a motion?
I make a motion to accept?
Second.
Discussion.
It did get a letter ought to pass by the planning board,
And I was
so.
just, you took the words right out of my mouth, Ray, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So reading that, I'm totally in favor of it.
Anyone else? Audra, roll call, please.
Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes?
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lynch.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Order number 2-2024, providing for authorization for the town manager to renew the municipal funding with Central Maine Growth Council for a 3-year contract in the amount of $29,547.25.
Through the chair, can I speak to that for just a second?
Sure.
Central Maine Growth Council is Winslow's economic arm. They're the regional economic growth organization. I have personally worked with both Garvin and Sabrina, who are in this audience, and I can't speak high enough for them. They've provided multiple services for me in the other town, and I am planning on utilizing them in this town. I know a 3-year contract sounds like it's a lot, but you have to understand there's an escape clause. 90-day notice, we can disengage with them if we need to. I don't see that happening. They are actually here to answer any questions you may have for them, but they've turned into a powerhouse in the region. And
Ella, that's a total of 29,000.
no, that's $29,000 a year.
A year?
And that's
Yep.
in your budget already.
Could he just spend a small amount of time to speak?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ella. Garvin Dunnigan, Central Maine Growth Council. Good evening, councilors. Good evening, Ella. Good evening, members of the public, and for folks watching at home. I do have just a few documents to share with folks, just some light reading material. One is just an overview of the organization and some key projects. The other is an overview, a little bit of a data abstract or a data package for the community with a comparison on the region. We love a good opportunity to educate on data, albeit maybe some light reading at the end of the day here. I won't read that for you, but again, happy to answer questions. And for folks in the public, again, see this as public information, happy to provide PDFs of that. But again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be in front of you this evening. We take our job extremely seriously. As many folks have heard me say before, I'd be remiss, and when we have more time, what I like to have a discussion is really challenge and ask people, how do they define economic development? So I would ask all of you here tonight, councilors, how do you define economic development, number one? And then number two, maybe even most importantly, how does your community define economic development? When I ask those questions, I hear a variety of answers. Sometimes it's housing, sometimes it's transportation, sometimes it's infrastructure, roads, bridges, downtown revitalization, entrepreneurial ecosystems, imports, exports, foreign direct investment, grants, workforce development, business expansion, retention, and the panacea, the firm recruitment. Now, that's not a definition, that's just a list of things to do. What is your economic development strategy? And ultimately, here tonight, that fee or that service is a direct fee to support small businesses, entrepreneurs, and mid and large size firms. And ultimately, a lot of our best work goes to those most in need, whether it's an emerging entrepreneur in the community or a business that we're looking to retain. So with that said, just really quickly, the Growth Council is a 501c6, mission-driven, public-private economic development corporation. Again, we take that very seriously. You do have a composition of an overview of some of our projects, not a comprehensive list. And I would also just want to point out, in those successful projects, success has many mothers and sisters, fathers and daughters, and ultimately is a reflection of the entrepreneur, the Mr. or Mrs. CEO. You see an overview of services provided. We are a full, comprehensive economic development shop. If we cannot figure something out, we will bring in the people to help with that. But for folks maybe wanting to get a flavor, that could be the most important but basic, creating of a business plan so a business can go get financing. It could mean working with a local realtor to find an appropriate site for a business to expand or move. It could help an entrepreneur get their feet under them. And yes, sometimes, if we're so fortunate, helping a business with a grant or an incentive. I would just like to point out, we do define economic development not by a list of things, but also with a strategy. I think that might be slide 3 or 4, where you see the hierarchy of what we do and a 5-point blueprint of how we do it. Beginning with workforce. People are the best assets in our community. So workforce, workforce, workforce. Looking to catalyze the emergence of tech and innovation as our economy does continue to transition from a post-mill and manufacturing milieu to where we are today. There's still amazing manufacturing in this community and precision manufacturing. We think about strategies of infill developments. We're not growing where we don't have infrastructure. We actually don't even have that luxury. And I say we broadly throughout the state of Maine. We do think regionally and locally, but we're very aware that we're actually just in this ecosystem of a global economy. I know it's frustrating, but the dollar does not stop or start at a municipal boundary. And then we do believe that Maine has a wonderful brand identity, often known as clean and pristine, and there's no reason why Winslow shouldn't as well as it does. Just a quick snapshot of our revenue dynamics. A few years ago, I was in front of groups like this, and we were about 50% publicly funded and 50% privately funded. We're very proud that today our municipal dues only make up approximately 22% of our annual budget, and that's a reflection of us diversifying our revenues and being extremely mindful of the constant public finance, public taxation, and budget pressure that many municipalities are on. We are supported with additional services from typically throughout the course of the year, approximately 70 to 80 business sector investors, as well as academic institutions, and our wonderful hospitals and civic organizations. This is a reflection in the good work that our communities do and that we do. As you talk to and communicate with the businesses we've worked with in your community, as we recommend you do, what you'll hear, or what you have heard and what we hear, is a reflection of Winslow's business-friendly approach, that we're confidential, we're nimble, we're creative, and we're always mindful of the business community. We have an incredible board of directors, of which Ella, as well as our other 3 municipalities, sit on there. I will note that I also have my trusted colleague Sabrina Jandrew here, Winslow native. We have an incredible team at the Central Maine Growth Council. Also not with me, but a wonderful support structure is Kimberly Lindloff, who's the executive director of the Central Maine Growth Council, as well as the president and CEO of the Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce, who we work extremely closely with. Maybe just a tale of 2 projects really quickly to give you a sense of the scope and scale. And again, just a quick snapshot, not a comprehensive list. We believe in growing from within.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Time limits.
Yeah, I think we reached our time limit.
We really appreciate your enthusiasm and stuff, but I think we get the picture. And I know from my 15 years on the council, the benefit of the Central Maine Growth Council, not only just for businesses here in the town of Winslow, but for jobs in the area. It's critical. It's critical you do the things you do, and it's critical that we support you, and we get it.
Awesome, thank you. My board also cuts me off with time limits as well when we're in meetings, so it's a common issue I have.
It's okay.
Long-winded.
Maybe just any last questions or thoughts, happy to, always available to meet with a business or an entrepreneur or a counselor, of course.
Do you have a card?
I do, yes.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
We need a motion.
Oh, I thought we already had the motion.
Did I miss the motion?
So
I didn't have a motion.
Second,
Motion to sign the contract.
motion to sign contract.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
So Dale and Ray. Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Ray, Fran Hudson, sorry.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lent.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Cheers. Thank you, counselors.
Thank you.
Okay. Order number 3-2024, providing for authorization for the town manager to sign the attached agreement with, and I have left that blank for you, to remediate mold from the Winslow Fire Department for an amount not to exceed whatever dollar amount you would like to set.
Through the chair. I've asked these 2 gentlemen here to explain on what we had to go through to try to mediate the mold situation and to take care of it. I also have a contractor here that had put the bid in and how it's been organized with the mold company as well, because with Mike Murphy saying that he has to have certain sections done at a certain time, cannot be all done at one time. In that play there, Mr. Chris Poulin, the contractor, has talked to Lyle, which is the Mold Brothers, and to do this job here, to remove the mold, and they go immediately behind it, so that's not going to be in chaos for months at a time. So Kyle and Chris has spoken together, and they've actually started to work together as far as this is supposed to be starting possibly by the 1st of March. I've talked to Lenny. Lenny had asked, I asked for more than one bid. Lenny tried to get,
Tried to get 4.
bids, and unfortunately, we're only on the molds, we got 2. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
And the one that we received, the one that we took was the Mold Brothers, and why was that? What was the reason for that?
They had the best presentation. They
Just for the
actually-
record, Mr. Chairman, we should move this first before
Yeah.
we have discussion.
Oh, okay.
Well, before we do, yes, definitely. So somebody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Now we're in discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
So Kyle actually, or Mold Brothers, actually came in, they put video cameras in, they actually looked around. Most people just lifted up the tires and looked and said, oh, there's mold. He went into it more in detail. When we got his quote back, it was very well thought out, why he was doing it, what type of mold it was, what it was gonna take to remediate the mold, not just, here's the cost, this is it.
Okay.
And we tried, like he said, we tried 4 people, and we only got 2.
Okay. So what I was trying to tell the public here is that it's not just going to be given to one person or one contractor. We want to get more. But today's day and age, you're very hard to find even 2 to give the quotes. And Lenny had tried to get that with Mr. Vigio, I think it was.
Yes.
Yes.
And did he give you he didn't give you a price at all, did
He
he?
came in to look, but he never gave us a price, which
Never
I'm
came
assuming
back.
he was too busy.
Okay. So I invited Chris here, as if you have any questions on how this is going to be done, he'd be more than glad to answer any of the things that you needed to be done. And this here is supposed to be started, if we can make a decision on today, this is supposed to be started the first week of March.
We
Through
need 2 readings for this.
Yeah.
And the 30 days.
We can waive the second reading.
Through the chair, if I might,
Yeah,
a question to the contractor.
Chris.
Once you get the mold out, how long your treatment gonna last, or?
Before you, could you please go to the podium? So the people on the computer can hear you.
Maybe Mr. Murphy,
He's not the mold.
He's not the mold remediation,
I'm not
he's
the
the
mold.
construction.
Yeah.
my question is, once you get the mold out, how long do you think your treatment will prevent the mold from coming back? What's your duration?
So what I was told is, sorry, Chris, but what I was told through Mold Brothers is once they get rid of it and we seal it correctly or put it back together so it's watertight and use the right materials, it shouldn't come back.
Okay. That's all my question.
That's,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
What about dehumidifiers after all the mold is gone? That building should have dehumidifiers, shouldn't it?
correct. Yep.
Council Joseph dropped
Yep.
some off, we've been using, they've been
We
working
have,
great.
we have been using, we have the small one that used to be at the town office, in the dispatch area, office area, and we have a very large unit in the bay.
Yeah, we got that from the school.
Correct. We're gonna have to
Shelley
get it-
Phillips is the one that lent it to us, but I really considered that after this is all done, that we would actually purchase one in around, I think, $1,200 or $1,400. But as you said, and I checked several times, that when you had water in there, it really pulled out a lot of that moisture, so we wouldn't have that problem with the mold again. And then Chris, of course, he gave us the best possibility as far as making sure that that mold doesn't get back into it. So Chris, please explain to what they're doing as far as the walls, what we're going to be doing with that.
Yes, the exterior wall that's in the fire department right now, where all the trucks are being washed and things like that, you know, when they spray the trucks off, you know, mold or water can, you know, seep under the walls, and I'm assuming that's how, you know, over the years of time, how this came to be. So our solution was to, for one, put like a exterior finish on that wall, such as corrugated metal or whatever. And the other thing too was to create like a cut in the concrete to create like a hat channel to divert water from ever going back in. And this way here it won't seep back under the walls, it'll create an exterior finish, and we're also gonna put like we put in the quote, like a hydro gap protection on the wall, so it's pretty much like bulletproof to prevent this from happening ever again. So it was well thought out, and you know, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna do it correctly. So
Thank you, Chris.
I move to end discussion.
And one question, Ray? if you
Yeah,
don't mind,
oh, sure.
for the chair. You got two bids, Lenny?
We get 2 bids for the mold removal,
Yeah.
but just
What were
one
those
bid for the-
bids? How much were those
The
bids?
prices, one was right around 11 and one was 15. I can give you the exact amount, I just have to get to it.
I don't need the exact, but 11 and what?
Yeah, let me make sure, because,
15,144 from
Yep.
Brothers.
and the other one was, put a lot of paperwork together, nice job.
Was it the 11,920?
Yep, exactly.
And the bid with Chris to do your work, that's not, is that included in that? Those
That's a
bids,
separate
not-
bid.
That's a separate bid.
It's basically 60-something.
Do we have that bid?
Yep,
Yes.
68,554. $68,554.
And that money, Lenny, I believe, well, close to it, is budgeted money right now.
68,000, we don't have that.
We don't
budgeted.
have that.
We had somewhere around 20 in that account.
No, we've got, I think we got about 20, but
Yeah.
not the 68,000.
Yeah, so 20 if we had, a little short, but not much.
This is a total.
Yeah.
Can I say something else?
Yes.
The other thing too is, we're putting in mold-resistant sheetrock. We are putting like the best products into what we're doing as well. So between the hydrogap and, the mold-resistant sheetrock, and we're gonna redo everything with Roxel insulation, which is a mold. It's better than the old-fashioned insulation. It's the new, it's rodent-proof. So all those things that are in that bid are basically the best materials that are up to date for mold and prevention and all that stuff, so.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I just want to share with everybody, we also have the same exact problem happening at the Parks and Recreation Department that we haven't even addressed yet, and we have it at the public library. This mold's a huge issue, so the fire department is just one part of this puzzle.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, but I think once we tackle the fire department, then we can continue and go on right after the Parks and Rec also. And I think a lot of that can be remedied by having another dehumidifier to start off with to prevent more mold going in there. So as far as what we have right now and what it's going to cost us to do that, I don't believe it's going to cost us as much as it is for the fire department because there's so much water that goes in there from the washing the trucks and that. The
Yeah.
Parks and Recs is totally different.
So we actually have to award two different contracts here, correct?
Yes.
We don't have, you're gonna have to make a special order, motion, Jeff, to award the second contract.
Right.
I thought they were all 3 for mold, so that's my fault, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, there is, but to vote, to pass the one for Chris, we're gonna need a,
We need to do a separate for
we've gotta
that,
do,
don't we?
we've gotta do, suspend the rules. And move to accept his at the 68,
Right.
right?
I would think so, because this is specific to the mold remediation.
You're not.
We're actually awarding two different contracts.
Right, you've got almost 70,000 on this end, and you've got another 16,000 approximately for the mold, so we're getting close to $100,000 that we're gonna be spending here.
Did he say 6,800 or 68,000?
68,544.
Plus 20,000.
I mean, so this is a big deal.
We don't have a choice. I mean, let's be honest here.
Can I say something else?
They live in squalor over there.
Yeah,
They should not.
It's been kicked down the
The reason
road.
why I brought that up was because we have to find the money. Do we take it out of fund equity or whatever? So we gotta
Yeah.
find the cash to do this.
Well, that's your job. You find it.
We got it, we just gotta get the approval to
I
spend.
think Chris
All
wanted
right.
to say something.
I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
The other thing I want to say too is my company is a reputable company where, as far as we have all legit employees, and I'm doing everything with a legit way as far as professionally, and we've just done a big renovation at First Church in Waterville here and at Faith Church, and Not that I'm bringing church into the situation, but, you know, it's a very reputable company, and we're very well trusted, and we also, you know, we like to give back to our communities, and even though I live in Oakland, we're all about community and trying to do the best for as little as possible, so.
Okay, so,
Do you want an audience? I don't,
I
it's
just
up
have
to
a
you.
question for clarification. Did I understand, Ella, that you're saying we have like 20,000 in the budget already that would certainly remediate one of the two bids for the mold, and it would be the extra 68,000 for the construction that we'd have to come up with as non-allocated?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that.
Couldn't we take that money out of that revolving account?
Not familiar with the revolving.
The
Unassigned fund?
one that the warrants get paid out of.
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I would just say, let's just take it out of the town's,
Okay,
unassigned
either way.
fund balance,
Yeah.
yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
so I will move then, if we're done discussion, whoops, sorry, Jeff.
Can I say one more thing before you vote on it?
Yeah.
I just want to thank Councilor Joseph. This has been a problem, and I know Ray Karen's been real concerned about it. This has been pushed down the road for 2 or 3 years, and it's just ridiculous at this point. I know it's going to be a lot of money, but those guys, like Councilor West said, they're sleeping over there. And when Councilor Joseph came in, that was like his top priority to make sure this gets done. So I want to thank you personally.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure the firefighters that are sleeping over there are probably sick of smelling it all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
I've slept in that bedroom many times.
Yes, not good.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Not healthy.
Couldn't breathe after, but it was okay.
So we're done discussion. Can I have, there's somebody else in the audience if you do want to do that?
Just want to give you a little bit of history of that. And, you know, I support this big time, of course, because I worked in Winslow for 8.5 years before I moved across the river. Anybody remember the clubhouse out behind the fire station?
Yes.
All that material used in that building, or all the construction, and Ray understands what I'm going to say, the insulation, all the wood came from that clubhouse, and 90% of it came from there. So I applaud you guys for taking care of it, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so first in order, we've got to take care of order number 3, 2024.
We're taking the bid from Mold Brothers?
The Mold Brothers bid.
And that was the bid for 16, just about 16,000?
15,000.
We, not to exceed what dollar amount?
I would say 16,000.
Okay, so we've got to sign the attached agreement with Mold Brothers to remediate the mold from the Winslow Fire Department for an amount not to exceed $16,000.
Correct.
So move.
Second.
Okay, so that's,
I'm assuming there's no discussion.
No discussion.
I think we beat that one.
okay, so, Mike Joseph,
Yes.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Fran Hudson,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Adam Lind,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Now, I'd then like to entertain a motion to,
I'll move to suspend the rules to add an item to the agenda. The item agenda would be authorization for the town manager to sign an agreement with your business name, Chris?
Unique.
Your business name?
Unique Building Solutions?
Unique Building Solutions, to, what would your job be? Instead of, it wouldn't be to remediate mold, it would be to
Construction.
Reconstruction.
reconstruction.
Reconstruction, sir.
For reconstruction from the mold removal from the Winslow Fire Department. For an amount not to exceed 68,000.
We did put a disclosure because we do not know exactly what they will be taking out. So there is the disclosure in my contract as far as saying if they end up ripping out way more than what was originally discussed.
Ella,
That's
that would be up
that's
to
the
you.
only thing about that.
And we'd have to come back to the council to amend it if it goes over.
I would put it at 70,000, and if it goes over, we'll have to come back.
Correct.
You get all that, Audra?
I think so. If I could read it, that's another story. Authorization for the town manager to sign the agreement with Unique Building Solutions for reconstruction after mold removal from the Winslow Fire Department, not to exceed $70,000. Close enough?
Yep. One thing though, can we go back to order number 3, 2024?
Not yet, not after this one. After this one,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can we do that?
yeah, we'll wait the second reading.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion from Dale. Do I have a second?
Second.
Want a roll call vote for that one?
Unless
Mike?
there's any discussion. I think you're good.
Okay. Mike Joseph?
Yes.
Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Fran Hudson?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Adam Lint?
Yes.
Did I say Ray? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I said yes.
Adam, I did Adam. Lee Trahan?
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
So motion passes
Now,
7.
that was to suspend the rules only. Now we gotta vote on the motion again.
Yeah.
Changing things up on me. This is new.
Sorry, Audra.
Sorry. Okay, so now, motion on the order to allow the town manager to sign the agreement with Unique Solutions for reconstruction of mold removal from the Winslow Fire Department, not to exceed 70,000.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Space here. Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Audra, is there a number appointed to that?
It will be 4, Order 4-2024. I will have to write that up and get
Jeff,
signatures.
you move to combine them both and wait a second. On both of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we combine 3, 2024 and 4, 2024 as read and waive the second reading so we can get this project going.
Second.
No discussion? Right, Jeff?
Any discussion on that? I didn't think so. Roll call. When you're done writing.
Thank you. Okay, Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
So motion to combine Order 3, 2024 and 4, 2024 and waive the second reading on both of them passes 7-0.
Through the chair, I'm gonna need a motion also to transfer the money out of fund equity to pay for this.
That'd be helpful, wouldn't it?
You got 30 days to do that, anyway, after the order. This order's not effective for 30 days.
We can get it all taken care of right now, though.
Because if we wait till next month, then
All right, I
it's an
suspend the
additional.
rules to move that the town manager be authorized to,
To withdraw the money to pay for the rebuild out of unassigned fund balance.
So we have to do a motion to suspend the rules and another motion.
that's right.
Yeah, I learn
So I'll move the motion.
to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
A motion to suspend the rules passes 7-0. And then a motion to transfer the money from fund equity account,
Unassigned fund balance.
unassigned fund balance.
And you want to refer to that order number on the money part of it.
Yeah. 04, 2024.
And make sure, Audrey, you have both order numbers there.
Okay. A motion to transfer money from unassigned fund balance for order number 3, 2024 and 4, 2024.
Yep.
Thought we had the money for 3.
We
We
do.
have the money for 3.
So it's just for 4.
So just
Yeah.
4?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because we have the 20,000.
You go down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have,
So moved.
okay. And who's-
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Adam Lint.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Jeff West.
Yes.
So motion to transfer the money from unassigned fund balance passes 7-0 on order 4-2024.
Aren't the intricacies fun?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to read that tomorrow. Okay, resolution number 1-2024 amended.
Thank you.
Providing for
Thank you, guys.
establishing the stipend for attendance at regular council meetings for the upcoming fiscal year. This is was set at $60 per month, and it's been requested to be $75.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Was this something we did in January? Is this?
Lee's
Yeah,
making-
we-
Yeah,
so-
up to 60. Lee put
Would
it
you
in
like-
for an amendment.
Would you like me to say something,
Yeah.
Jeff? Well, through the council? After having the first meeting on January 2nd, I just, after speaking with some of the other counselors, and with the added meetings, it seemed like it was a in favor idea to change the stipend from $60 to $75 a month, flat rate, regardless of the amount of duties or meetings we have.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
We lost a counselor, but
Save Mike for last.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Fran Hudson.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
no.
Adam Lint.
No.
Lee Trahan.
Yes?
Jeff West.
No.
Back.
Get a hand, Dale? It is.
Is,
You can wait, Audra, or we can wait, or it's 4 votes already again, so it doesn't make any difference.
No, it's
No, there isn't.
It's 3.
It's 3 to,
No, no.
no, it's 3.
3 to 3 right now.
3.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
There's the man of the hour right there. Gotta be careful when you leave, Mike.
Okay, roll call vote on that resolution to amend the stipend.
Yes.
The motion passes 4-3. Okay. Resolution number 7-2024, providing for confirming the appointment of Vanessa Cody to the position of tax collector. This was my former position, and she started in July. And I did not realize that this all needed to be done and passed it through you, so that is my fault. But I'm just now getting around to making her officially the tax collector.
So moved.
second?
I'm sorry, who's second? Thank you, Lee. Mike Joseph.
Yes.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Fran Hudson,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Adam Lint,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Jeff West.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Still has a job.
We'll let her deal with it now. So she has done very well. Okay, and resolution number 8-2024, providing for the municipal officers to agree to sign an agreement with the Maine Department of Transportation to allow a construction over limit permit to be issued to the contractor of the large culvert rehabilitation of Route 1A. And I've been told by Paul Fonjamy that this is a kind of a standard thing that they do quite often.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call?
They are gonna repair any damages and stuff. Is that what I was reading in the clause, that they're gonna take care of issues
I believe
with
so.
overweight loads and
There's
stuff?
there's usually a
There's
bond that goes with that,
Okay.
and they take care of it. We've done that before. Usually it's not a huge issue. 100 days of a good solid road.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Okay. Mike Joseph,
Yes.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Fran Hudson,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Adam Lint,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Jeff West.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, on to discussion items. The interest rates for late payments, is Fran asked to have that on the agenda?
I did. I'm, the late interest rates for paying your property taxes late. I spoke on that before I became a counselor and nobody even blinked an eye. So now that I'm a counselor, I'm gonna say it again, especially at a time when our taxes, as we all know, are outrageously high. I was wondering why we would set, the state of Maine sets the maximum amount a town or a municipality can charge. Right now, the state just went up to 8.5%. It was 8%, which is the maximum, which Winslow has been following the maximum. So I thought, why are we charging the maximum amount of the interest rate to people who are having such a hard time to pay their taxes right now? It's a little bit of a help, but I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more people who are late paying their property taxes. And even though it's a little, I'm hoping it can be a little light at the end of the tunnel, that we do care and we want to try to save the taxpayers a little bit of money. So I would, the current rate right now in Winslow is 8. That's about 68 cents for every $100 you owe. So it's more than 50 cents for interest rate on your late payment. The state doesn't get any money, the town keeps it all. Since it should all, I did notice though that the percentage rate in 2022 was maxed at 4% and no loss was suffered by the town because of that drop in that interest rate. Winslow collected thus far about $22,000 this year on late property tax payments. So I just wanted to put it out there so that maybe with our next budget, we can't do anything right now, but with the budget we're currently working on, that we could drop it. And I'm all in favor of dropping it down to 0. But if they're gonna fight about it, at least for the next year, give people a breath. Just breathe with these taxes. So that's why I wanted to present it.
Through the chair. So Fran had approached me on it, and what I did was I sent out a survey to all the towns who would respond. I had 21 respondents come back. Of those 21 respondents, 4 towns are actually charging less than the maximum. And the reason for it, and I think I forwarded Fran most of the responses I got from town managers on it, is to prevent people from actually making money, keeping the late taxes and making money on it by getting a higher interest rate. You know, $22,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it really isn't. And a lot of people will come in and pay their taxes a week late or 2 weeks late, and it doesn't amount to a lot of money. the whole idea is to get everybody in the habit of paying their taxes if they can.
And honestly, I understand what you're saying, Ella. I do, but I'm talking about not every other town. Quite frankly, I don't care about the other towns. I'm talking about this town at this time. Because we haven't spoke about taxes and the outrageous increase that it was, this was my quickest way to see a small little olive branch we can offer to the people. But that money is money because you're asking people who already cannot afford their taxes now to give them even more money because they're late on their payment. That's what I think is wrong.
And I'm good with it either way, Fran, but I just want to speak a little bit about the outrageous tax increases. The reason why the tax increase was the way it was because we didn't keep up with things. This was a state-mandated reval. And unfortunately, when you get those, the common rule of thumb is you're gonna lose councilors, you're gonna lose town managers out of them. Nobody likes to go through that. But when you have a property that's listed for $119,000 on the tax rolls and the people can sell that property for $300,000, you're out of whack. I mean, I understand taxes went up, I'm gonna go through it in the town of Fairfield. And I'm not looking forward to it. But these are mandated
And I
revals.
understand that, and I'm not blaming everybody, but the mill rate also affects that, which is the budget also affects that. So it wasn't just because of a reevaluation, but even though it doesn't even matter, because at this point, I'm just asking if we could all just consider lowering that interest rate. You say that 22,000 sounds like a lot. If it's not a lot, then we don't need it.
Right, well, it's a
So-
$33 million budget, so 22,000 doesn't even.
Through the chair, I'd like to add something to that. I think with the high taxes that we've incurred this year, I think it would be a little bit of a relief for the people here in Winslow to have a little bit of that as far as decreasing that interest rate. I think it would help them a lot. Not that much, I should say, but at least that we're showing that we're trying to help them out where they've been hit with such a high tax this year. I'm with Fran.
If I might, through the chair, again, why don't you, would that be an order or a resolution or ordinance to have that changed?
That would have to be an ordinance.
An ordinance?
Can you change it this year?
No, that's not.
So
an
it's-
ordinance.
It goes in the
That's a-
budget.
That's an interest rate that is determined by Judy at the end, basically at directions. Judy, is
No,
she
she's
still here?
gone.
That's added
Judy's
to the
Judy's
budget.
usually the one that establishes the interest rate. I don't recall
It
last
has to
year.
come from an order from the council to change that interest rate, though.
It does when we approve the budget.
Yes.
When we approve
It
the
goes
final
through the
budget. But to set that, usually Judy does, and I don't remember discussing that at the budget workshop in the past.
I don't think anyone's ever said it, to do it.
I don't know, because Judy usually sets it, but we do approve it when we approve the budget. So I don't think, it's certainly not an ordinance until we approve the budget. But we can certainly recommend to Judy, this is what we want for an interest rate.
Right.
Unless her hands are tied by state statutes, I don't know.
No, municipalities can change
I
it.
don't know.
This is a council decision.
Yes.
That is written into the budget order.
It's
The
in-
interest
it's-
rate.
The budget itself, right here, it's in here right now.
Oh, the
Probably-
order's not in there right now, but that,
No,
yeah.
but, it's probably in here somewhere, because you put it somewhere in the revenue side,
It's the interest rate.
the interest revenue
Right,
anticipated.
so we're gonna drop that revenue
And did you
down.
use 8%?
8%.
So that's in here somewhere, and we can change that during the budget workshops.
Correct.
So at that time, we'll make that decision.
Like a plan.
Fran, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay, on to rules and procedures for public comment that Ella had asked for.
Yeah, so Bill Lee has sent over a decorum and rules, and I think that you had mentioned it, Brenda, and I think this is brilliant, and I think that we need to adapt this. You've all got copies of this, and it talks about, limiting the total public comment time to 15 minutes in respect of the other people that's in the audience, which we went way over tonight, and holding everybody accountable to the 3 minutes, and that they can't share that 3 minutes. Also, we addressed the issue of people standing up to speak that have a problem with town employees. I mean, that can't happen. And so I like the way this is written. We've drafted it up so that it actually pertains to the town of Winslow, and I'd like to see the council support this.
Mr. Chairman, can I just state one thing? I think, I don't have the copy in front of me, so I'll apologize, but you were going to recommend that 15 minutes be set aside at the beginning of the meeting
For all of public comment.
for all of the public comment.
Right.
And if 6 people want to take the 3 minutes, was that going to the end of the meeting? Didn't I read that somewhere?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That was gonna go to the end of the meeting?
Right.
If that's okay, and if you want to, because 10 people want to talk for 3 minutes, they talk for 3 minutes, and we go 30 minutes. But I would just suggest that it be put, all of it at the end, all of it at the end of the meeting, at the end of the agenda. Then you're not separating them and see who's gonna argue, or I want to go be the top first 5 to get into the beginning of the meeting, or because I've got to leave, or whatever. And put it all at the end of the meeting,
You mean all of public comment?
yeah. Instead of dividing them up in case there's more than 15 minutes worth.
I agree with you too.
Yeah.
And have it at the end, then we can do our business first. And people like tonight, left after a lot of their business was done.
So all of public comment will be at the end? Not all of it,
The
right?
normal 3-minute public comment that we have at the beginning of the meeting, like we did tonight, will
Yep.
be at the end of the agenda items, rather than where it is now.
So instead of public comment being after the manager's report, we will put it kind of right now, where it is now, at the end with discussion.
very end.
At the very end.
I think you'll get
Or
through the
before
meeting
discussion,
quicker.
one or the other, either before or after discussion. Doesn't make much difference there. That has to be drafted into a resolution, Ella.
But I want the council to really consider this. I think this holds a lot of weight. We've got to smooth things out a little bit.
Steve Susi, Sam Street, Winslow. So with regarding to public comment, are you saying that you're gonna cap it at 15 minutes total?
Total, well, if we go at the end of the meeting,
Yeah.
we won't have to cap it.
Okay, so gonna be, I was gonna say that's limiting First Amendment right,
Right, right.
so I don't think we can put a cap on it.
Well, it would have been a cap at the beginning of the meeting for 15 minutes, and then at the end of the meeting, anybody else could go.
it's
So
gonna
you're
spread
not
it out.
capping it at 15 minutes total?
Okay,
The only cap is the 3 minutes.
so if you have a lot of your constituents here that wanna discuss whatever, it doesn't matter if we have 30 people here,
That's right.
we're gonna, okay,
That's right.
all right, thank you.
So do you want that on the, as a resolution on the next meeting?
Is it possible for everybody else to see what those rules are, so?
It is on the agenda, it's on the website.
It is.
And it will be part of the agenda for next meeting and the meeting after.
It will be.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You good, Ellen?
Good.
Okay, the next item for discussion is the Personnel Appeals Board. Mike?
Yes, and that is on a piece of property that's on the Augusta Road, or
No,
Denise?
the Personnel Appeals Board.
Oh, the Personnel Appeals Board.
You asked.
Oh, yes. Now, the Personnel Appeals Board, we haven't used it at all, and I think you gave me 3 names.
Yep.
And they have 3-year contracts, I should say, 3-year terms.
They do, yep.
Now, what are they used for? Is it the
Yeah,
personnel that doesn't?
I think you had also sent it to me. The personnel section in the code, and what they would be used for. We've never had any personnel appeal,
Is it?
any decision, so.
If they get disciplined in any way, they can appeal it? Is that what that
Exactly
is?
what it is.
Yep.
This is for non-union employees, whereas if I make a decision to deal with them, then they can take that appeal, grieve it, and take it to the personnel appeals.
And then where does it go from there? After it goes to the appeals board, who do they answer
That-
to, or
that
who
is-
do they bring this to? Do they bring it to the council?
No, they bring it to the town manager back to the town manager as an advisory opinion. They issue an advisory opinion, goes back to the town manager. Then the town manager agrees with them or doesn't agree, or they both agree, or however that comes out. Other than that, it's the regular personnel policies that's in that big thick thing that we have.
Right.
And that's for non-union members only. The
Yeah.
union has
Yeah,
their own
that's right.
grievance process.
And they can actually sway my decision, Mike. So, I mean, if we have 3 members of the public that's part of that, and they hear the side of the employee, and they find in favor of that, that may have an impact on how I move forward with it. So, I think it has value.
Okay. Audra, could you get me the telephone numbers to the other two? I know you gave me the telephone number to Lavoy.
I emailed you the telephone numbers for everybody.
Oh, you did, because I didn't see it on that
Yep.
first one?
I
The
emailed
first
it-
email was, the only one I had was a telephone number on Lavoy, and was on the top of the
Yeah, and then I
three.
emailed you on Monday.
Okay, I
the
didn't pick that
list,
one up.
and
Okay.
They are all on the roster as well.
All right, thank you.
So, but to add to that, Mike, the town's lawyer will be involved in any of my decisions when it comes to personnel matters. So I'll also be taking my advice from the town's attorney on that.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, with Audra, this may be a little off, but on our website or Facebook page or wherever it is, there's 2 different locations where it lists all the committees we have in town. And it lists the people that are supposed to be on them with their expired terms. When you get a chance, could you look through that? Some of those, I like the senior citizens one we did.
Yep.
And some terms have expired for 5 years.
Yep,
And
so
we haven't reappointed. So that needs to be looked at and brought up to date.
the last, well, now that we've got some new people appointed this time, I will
Yeah.
update the roster. But I think the last time the roster was updated was,
Years ago.
no, I just did
Oh,
it.
you did?
I've done it recently, yep. So if there's another place on the website that I'm not seeing that it needs to be updated, maybe there's more than one location.
There's 2 locations and they're different.
So if you could give me a call tomorrow and let me know where those 2 are, so I can either delete one if it's in 2 locations or update both of them. Because we have found that that's sometimes an issue on our newer website, that things are in different places and we're not catching them all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, on to change the ordinance or variance to allow a sign at 1266 Augusta Road. This is the one you're talking about.
Yes, and that was Denise Whitman. She can't be here today because she's been sick. There's only about 15 properties,
12, I think.
12 properties that is in that particular zone. And all she wants is a sign there for businesses. Now, Winslow has Augusta Road and they have Benton Avenue. That's the extent of where most of our business is there because we have sewage going through there. Now, I've counted 18 signs from Fortin's TV all the way up to the industrial park. She's 3/10 of a mile on the same side. I told her, I says, ask your neighbors to sign a petition or a paper saying that it's not going to disvalue the property of theirs by putting a sign there. She has received 6 signatures from the surrounding people. They have no problem there, and I believe that the ordinance doesn't pertain to an individual, but only an entity or corporation of the state unless it's harming or disvaluing the properties of adjoining properties. So by saying that, we have the signatures here. I'm asking to remove that type of zone so she can have her sign there. I mean, we're trying to encourage businesses here. I don't want to see her going to Waterville and then starting a business over there that we can actually have it here, right here in Winslow. If we're going to do that, I think that would be the perfect thing to do for her.
Yeah.
Mind if I go?
Go ahead.
Okay. What I personally would like to see is that we just rezone.
I agree with you.
Everything across the road is mixed use.
Yep.
Everything before it says mixed use and industrial. You have those 12, 13 lots that are low density residential. Why? It's our main corridor through town. So
Absolutely.
what I would ask, and hopefully I can get people to agree with me here, is that we put it on for the next meeting to have the joint public hearing with the planning board and get the ball rolling on it. We were actually, should have done this, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, Ray?
Yep.
We had rezoned a portion of the Augusta Road on the east side. And we had talked about doing it all, and there was just a bunch going on, and we forgot about that little section back then. So that would be my recommendation, is we bring it up for a rezone.
Mike, do you know, did she go into the town office and request a permit for a sign, or a used sign, and was denied by code enforcement?
Yes.
Yes.
She was denied.
Mm-hmm.
Reading the low-density residential hour, it says that commercial uses can be in low-density residential. And then it says, as long as they fit into the character of the neighborhood. And then it lists 15 things that have to go in, that could be provided for. One is signs. So I don't know, I haven't had an explanation yet on why that couldn't have been issued by
So
a.
we do have a legal opinion from Bill Lee, and he's recommending doing exactly what
Yeah,
Jeff
I
had just said.
agree with Jeff, because we wanna rezone the whole thing.
Right.
But
right.
why was she denied a permit to begin with, when it sounds like the code allows it?
Right. Well, I know that our code enforcement officer has been working hand in hand with Bill Lee on this, and this was a recommendation from Bill. So, that's.
Was there a size limit on that sign, though? Because I know
No,
some districts
no.
have a different sign.
And there is,
size.
but that's a different section of the zoning.
A sign is attached to a building, it's permissible.
Yeah.
But she,
No.
it's too
This
broad.
says just signage
Right.
is allowed under a use permit for a commercial use. It is allowed going through code enforcement.
Well, I spoke with her today, and if we can get this on the agenda next month, then have our second reading the following month, she was fine with that.
Yep. Well, we have 2 meetings a month now, so it goes quicker.
Oh, that was that too. Good about that.
So we want to rezone her to mixed use,
Rezone from
low,
Millennium Drive to the Vassabro town line.
And you've got to check with Bill Lee on that, some of the authority of the council is limited to zoning, where a zoning change initiates from.
Right, because you have to get the state involved if we start changing too much.
No, you got to get the planning board involved. Where does the original request for the zoning change come from?
Comes from you.
Does it come from the council, or
Comes
does it
from
go
the
through?
council, then it goes into the public hearing, where you have both the planning board and the council sitting in the public
I think,
hearing.
because I don't think we've done that before. It's usually initiated by the homeowner. Goes
I
to
think
planning
she's-
board, then comes through. But anyway, it'll get done. It'll get done. It's just the proper procedure to make sure things get done right.
so we'll have a joint hearing, public hearing next week,
Next
or
week.
next meeting. Then it will go to the planning board for their recommendation.
Yeah.
Then it will come back to you for your
To vote on.
vote, and that's 2 readings, and we cannot waive a second reading.
Just make sure that the signs,
Abutting property owners, if I were speaking of.
They've already been,
Not if you're changing the whole zone, you're not.
Not for zoning.
No, that still has to be done.
Yeah.
right,
The notifications have to be made.
yes, yes.
Yeah, we'll send out butters notices for all that as it goes. Okay, I just want to make sure I've got this right. Okay, on to executive session. A motion to enter into an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405(6)C.
could I suggest a recess before we go into executive session?
Let's do it.